Hi, it's Graham Wilson here, and I thought I'd bring you this video from our wonderful woods down at Success Factory where our ropes course is. I've just been working down here this afternoon, and it's just about to start to absolutely pour down, I think. So hopefully I'll get this video recorded before I have to shoot off back to the top of the hill. What I'd like to do today is to share with you 7 tips on how you can become more grateful in your life. But I'd like to start with a story I heard a while ago, which is a lovely story which really illustrates the importance of being grateful. If we take ourselves to Africa many years ago, there was a farmer who inherited his farm from his father. He's the youngest son of the farmer, and all the other sons went off and created jobs and careers, and he's really resentful of the fact that, being the youngest son, that he actually has to take over the farm from his father, and he has a young family, and farming is really hard, and he's working really hard. And there's that famous story, isn't it, about the farmer who won the lottery, and he won millions of pounds, and someone said to him, so what are you going to do with all the money? And he said, well, I'm just going to carry on farming until it's all gone. So it's a pretty tough thing. So this farmer over in Africa, he's very resentful about it. He doesn't really want to do it, and he hears about these people in other parts of Africa actually finding these diamonds and becoming really fabulously wealthy and living amazing lives. And he's really resentful about that as well, and this resentfulness is actually taken over his life. So eventually he decides to sell the farm, take his family and go in search for these diamonds that everyone else seems to find and having great lives. And he doesn't want to work hard anymore. He just wants to find this one diamond and be really successful and have all this money and live a great life. So he goes off and he sells the farm to a young family who are absolutely delighted about getting the farm, because it's their greatest wish to be able to bring up their family on the farm, and they love actually their nature and working, and they don't mind the hard work, and it's something they've always wanted to do. So this farmer goes off in search of his fortune with his family, and unfortunately it's quite a sad story that he eventually dies destitute and never ever finds any diamonds anywhere, and is bitter and twisted, and sadly dies very young. So back on the farm that he sold to this young family, and one day this farmer, he's out working on the fields, and he finds in the river this most beautiful blue stone in the river, and he thinks, that's a wonderful gift to my wife. She works hard back at home and supporting her family and bringing up our kids, and it's really nice to actually get this stone and take it back and give her as a gift. So he picks a stone out the river, takes it home, and then next morning at breakfast he gives her this stone as a wonderful gift. And she's really thankful for it, and really grateful that he's taken the time to recognize all the hard work she does and how she supports the family, and how it enables him to actually farm and earn a living as well. So she's really grateful, and she puts the beautiful stone onto the mantelpiece, which is really a really wonderful ornament for them to actually look at. And one day there's a visitor to the farmhouse, and they invite them in, they give them some food, and they take them to the lounge, and they sit down and start talking. And at one point this person, the visitor, actually nearly falls off his chair, because he just looks at the mantelpiece and sees this most amazing blue stone. And he's quite an expert on stones, and actually what they found on the farm is the biggest diamond ever found in Africa, on the farm that was sold by the other farmer looking for diamonds. And I think that's such a wonderful story, isn't it, when you think about that and reflect on that the resentfulness in this farmer, the original owner of the farm, drove him away from where his success actually was. And it's very easy for us to actually not be grateful, not understand what we have, not really be clear about all the wonderful things that are going on in our life, and start searching for the things. And this resentfulness is not a good thing, is it, when you think about it? So what a wonderful story to think about. And you hear this phrase, don't you, the grass is always greener on the other side. Well, we have to really recognize actually that everything we need is right underneath our feet. We're just not noticing it. We're not grateful. So what I do is share with you 7 tips that I've learned over the years that help me to move away from resentful and being resentful into more grateful in my life. So I think a really good tip, number 1, is to start the day with being grateful. So the minute you wake up, just think about and just spend some moments, and Nick calls it meditation, around what am I grateful for today? what's wonderful in my life, what's all the positive in my life. And I think if we start the day like that, what a tick in the box to get that done. There's a great video out there, isn't there, about this Navy commander who talks about the first task in the day should be to make your bed. And if you want to change the world, make your bed. I think that's great. And my challenge that will be grateful first, spend some time thinking about what you're grateful for, and then make your bed. So tip number 2 is just to spend a bit of time and notice when you're complaining. How much of your time in your life do you spend actually complaining about things? It's hard to be grateful and complain at the same time. So you've got to make sure that we actually focus on being grateful rather than being caught up in these complaints and these issues and the problems. And if we're looking for things, it's a bit like when you go on your holiday and you find one thing wrong with the hotel, you then start looking, don't you, and you find lots of things wrong with it. And we're not grateful for the fact that we're on holiday and we're having a great time. We're complaining about all the things that are going wrong. And there are professional complainers out there, aren't they, that go out there and that's what they do in their life. And how sad is that? There's a great story about Gandhi where he's about to step on a train and he slips and one of his slippers falls on the floor. And when he gets onto the train and one slipper's down on the train tracks and he's got one on, and he takes the one he's got on and throws it on the floor. And someone said, well, why did you do that? I said, well, one slipper's no use for me, but 2 will be really good for someone else. So that's really cool, isn't it? So that's tip number 2. Number 3 is to, we've talked about keeping an open mind, haven't we, as a positive habit, but, start reading, listen to great stories, think about what other people do, and really open your mind to what is fantastic in our world and some of the success stories out there, how people have gone through difficulties and been really successful. And the more we read, the more we observe, the more we look at things, the more grateful we'll be. Number 4 is a great tip. I spent a bit of time in the military, and one of the things I noticed, I spent a bit of time over in Beirut during the war out there. God, I sound like granddad off Only Fools and Horses there during the war. But anyway, so I spent time there, and I noticed when we were there, and there's bullets flying, and there's debris, there's all sorts of horrible things going on, and embassies being blown up, and all sorts of tragedy going on. But I noticed the children, when they're playing in the streets, and they could be hit by sniper fire at any time, they're actually having a great time, and they're just wonderful playing with their toys, and as if nothing's happened. And I always use that as a bit of a comparison, when I think I'm stressed and I'm starting to get into a bit resentful of, life is hard and a bit of a pity party, then I use this comparison with other people and other situations I've been in, thinking, well, are the bullets flying? Well, they're not. So actually, I've got nothing to really complain about. So let's be grateful for what we have and the fact that we actually do have a wonderful life. And there are people out there that have got a tougher life than us. So be grateful for what you've got. So that's number 4. Number 5 is to spend more time and slow down and think about beauty and start to notice beauty value, whether that's in buildings, whether that's in nature, whether that's in people, and really actively start to look for beauty. And when you start to see it, you'll start to realize actually how amazing your life is, and actually then be more grateful for what you actually really have. Number 6 is, I can remember many, many years ago, my grandparents going to retire to Spain in, I think it was the early 70s, I think it was. And the only time we could communicate with them was through letters, and letters are so powerful, aren't they? And there's a whole psychology about the fact of when you're writing letters, it causes you to actually think in a different way and be more grateful and more creative and be more open and be more positive. So get out there and start writing some letters. Stop using the computers and actually write some really handwritten letters and tell people how much you actually love them and how much you care for them, how much you support them. So have a go at writing some letters. That's number 6. And the final tip for you is to remove the gossip. There's nothing great about gossip, is there? It hurts people. It's not good. It's not the right thing to do. And we should just remove it. It's quite simple. Just stop gossiping. And it's tough to do that, but we need to stop there. So there you have, 7 tips to help you to be more grateful. I hope you found that really useful. I hope you took some messages and learning from the story about the farmer, and making sure that you really focus on what is beneath your feet, what you have, what resources you have, and make sure that you are starting to be more grateful. Have a go at those 7 tips and make sure they start to become part of your habit and your way of working. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you more ideas and thoughts tomorrow, really about how you play to strengths and the importance of playing to strengths and the importance of actually understanding what your strengths are and making sure you're using them really, really effectively. So I hope you found that useful. From the woods at Success Factory, it's bye for now.